The Very Serious Crafts podcast is now on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/seriouscrafts to support our podcast and get early access to episodes. Find out about our unfiltered patron-only off-week episodes and more.
You're listening to the Very Serious Crafts podcast.
We're very serious crafters.
And we craft very serious crafts.
Very serious.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 15 of the Very Serious Crafts podcast. I'm Mollie from Wild Olive.
And I'm Haley from Red Handled Scissors and the Bones and Bobbins podcast. And Heidi is taking a little break this week, so it'll be just us.
Yes.
Yeah. And today we'll be talking about quilts and flowers. That's it. Just quilts and flowers.
Just quilts and flowers. I think, like, we've talked plants a lot on the podcast lately, but this is actually a little different than that. It's not just like your typical flowers, so I think it will be fun. It's fun that we both happened to land on quilt and flowery things, so.
Yeah, I didn't even read yours when I
know.
was looking at mine, so.
Yeah, it all worked out.
I kind of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how's it going, Mollie?
So on Sunday, I was getting ready to do some sewing and decided to be a very good, very serious crafter.
Oh?
And again, I'd been doing some bulk sewing and I thought I should probably clean out my sewing machine. This would be the smart thing to do, right? That's what serious crafters do.
Mm-hmm. And that's what that little brush is for that came with your sewing machine.
Exactly. And goodness knows I've cleaned sewing machines before. Well, this time was a little different. I don't know if maybe I hadn't cleaned the new sewing machine that I got recently. Like, I haven't used it tons, but I don't know if this was the first time I was actually cleaning this sewing machine. I got it in November or December, like, I don't know, what is that now? 8 months ago? 9 months ago? I don't know. Time is weird.
Time doesn't exist. It's fine.
So this was the first time I was trying to take all of the things apart in the bobbin casing area, but I could not get the bobbin casing out. I watched multiple videos, could not get it out. Finally, I said, Mom, what am I doing wrong? Have you try this? She couldn't get it out. Well, finally it pops out. Fine. Good. Clean the whole thing out. It actually wasn't all that dirty. It's all good. I'm fine. Now it won't go back in again. Trying all the things. Again, watching all the videos. Goes in partway, stuck. Like wedged in the thing. And I had...
Have you tried applying a bit of oil to the outside of it?
I have not tried that. It's all back together now. It did, in fact, suddenly pop in.
Oh, so you did get.
I did get it, but I was
That's weird.
It was so weird. And I had this moment of, am I going to need to bring this into a professional? Because I was afraid that if I messed with it too much, I would end up forcing it and doing real damage. And I just felt so like, what's the matter with me? That I can't just do this simple thing. But what I found is I have a Singer heavy duty. That's what I bought for just churning out sewing things. And what I read is that actually it's tricky to get that bobbin casing in and out. But it was like...
Well, at least it's not just you.
Yes. But now I'm a little concerned about going forward, how I'm going to manage to keep this clean and not go crazy. So if any listeners
you'll probably
have
get
that model,
the feel of it.
I hope so. And maybe it's even just like the more that it goes in and out, it will just be a little bit easier too. I don't know. If any listeners have this machine.
Sometimes that's the case.
Yeah. If you've got tips, I would welcome them. But yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All is well again. But it was a moment of sewing machine panic almost.
Yeah. Well, yes, because you've had a lot of bulk sewing to do lately.
I have, so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's all.
Well, if it makes you feel better or worse, I'm not sure which. I don't actually know how to clean my Bernina sewing machine.
Oh.
I can take any other machine. I can take a mechanical machine completely apart and put it back together, and it will be fine.
Yeah.
But I am so afraid to screw up this extremely expensive sewing machine.
Yeah.
That I am just pretending. I don't know. I need to do that, and I'm outing myself right now. To be fair, I have been writing cross-stitch books almost the entire time I've had it.
Yes.
So it hasn't seen a lot of use.
Yes.
But still.
Yeah. That makes me feel a lot better. Anyway, what else are you up to?
So, you know how, I don't know, a few episodes ago probably, I talked about rolling beeswax candles and how I was really excited about having finally tried it?
Yes.
Well, I am finding, and this may have more to do with the quality of materials that I am using. I'm not sure if there's variation here. In beeswax sheets.
That
but
sounds like a possibility, definitely.
Yeah, it does. It feels like there's an unnecessary amount of brittleness to the candles that I'm trying to roll. And the more I mess with them, which the more I hold them like I'm rolling a joint,
okay,
the less or the more pliable they get, because obviously wax and when you warm it up.
Yeah.
So I decided that there had to be a tool for this. That there must be like a beeswax sheet warmer for people who do candle making like as a thing. There does not seem to be, which leads me to believe that the quality of wax that I'm using is subpar. And it was gonna be. It was a kit's kit. But I have nice wax for later. But I still feel like it would do that if it were cold out. And like even nice stuff.
Yeah.
So I went looking for a solution on the internet in the wee hours of the morning. And started looking at items that are made to keep food warm on the table.
Oh.
And I couldn't find one with actual temperature settings. They just had like high, low, medium. Some of them didn't even have warm, and I think warm is probably even more than I want. But I found this, it's a rock of some sort, like a slab. It might be granite. I don't know. It's something that must not have metal in it because it microwaves. But you microwave this thing as long as you want to get it to the warmth that you desire, and then it holds on to that warmth. And so I'm thinking that if I let my wax pieces just chill on that for a second before I roll candles, that will solve my problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we shall see. It's an experiment. It's a science experiment, even.
I'm excited about that because those things can always be.
There's gotta be something for this, though. There's gotta be an actual tool.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about you can buy like the little wax melting pots.
Well, yeah,
you you don't need a specific tool that melts wax, but like, yet we have that. So it seems like
Yeah.
there should be, or at least the like most typical procedure for warming these sheets. You know, like what is everybody doing?
Well, maybe they're not. I just don't know. But looking at
Maybe
candles that I have purchased from others, they do not seem to have that sort of first roll breakage that I'm seeing. And I mean, it's wax, so you can squish it back together. It is not a deal breaker. It's
right.
I don't know. Listeners, if you know about a tool, or whether I just have really, really bad wax, which is certainly true, let me know. I need to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that is what's happening in my life right now.
Excellent.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet because I'm kind of scared.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Really?
I'll burn myself.
You won't burn yourself.
I might.
That won't happen. It'll be fine. Okay. Oh well. But before we continue on in our discussions, we want to give a shout out to some new serious friends of the Very Serious Crafts podcast who are now supporting us at patreon.com/seriouscrafts. Many thanks to Charlotte, Samantha, and Casey. You are the best. We appreciate you so much.
Wait, I think I have a pop culture reference.
Oh?
Aren't Charlotte and Samantha characters in Sex and the City? I don't know.
They are.
I've never seen it.
I have not watched that show, but I know that. Yeah.
But there are many tours based on it, and I live here. So,
yes.
Anyway,
there you go.
I'm just deciding that it's those characters.
Okay. That works. I like it. So, let me tell you about this. Is where we're starting on our first quilt element here in the topics. And this started with me hearing about some quilts that were on display in a community college. And they like referenced a specific quilt, and I wanted to find out more about it. I failed miserably at finding more information about this quilt. But what I did find is an article from the Billings Gazette, Billings, Montana, and is about a woman. Her name is, I believe the pronunciation is Debbie Descharlet, and she is a member of the Assiniboine tribe in Montana, and she designs Native American quilt cards. She's a graphic designer, and she has used a traditional quilt design,
like stationery cards.
Yes, like greeting cards. They're just blank on the inside, and they are. It's called the quilt pattern that is on the front is the Morning Star quilt pattern, which quilters will immediately recognize.
Yes. It's beautiful.
And yeah, so the article talks about how she has taken that quilt design and brought it to what she does, which is graphic design. And she's used the colors that are in quilts that her family has owned and so on. And I loved it. And I then wanted to do a little bit more digging into kind of the history of those quilts in Native American culture and so on. And she referenced that that quilting basically was brought to these tribes from missionaries who taught them how to quilt. But it happened around the same time that they could no longer be hunting buffalo traditionally in ceremonies, they would drape a buffalo hide over someone's shoulders, and they couldn't do that anymore. And so then they used quilts in place of that. And so now that is like the traditional way of giving a blessing or like passing, in these ceremonies, they use a Morning Star quilt on to drape over someone's shoulders.
Interesting.
So I was really delighted by the whole thing and how they, it's, people use crafts of different kinds, always, or definitely quilting. There's often a lot of symbolism that you can work into a piece that you make. And that's exactly what
so much.
They do with, they do it with colors and fabrics, and it's beautiful. And I looked further and found first an article from the Smithsonian magazine that I'll link all this stuff in the show notes, but this one has like some beautiful photos from a display that they had. Now this goes back years. I can't remember exactly how many years, but there's pictures there, and they talk with some of the creators of the quilts. But then when you want to go full on very serious crafts, I found this is my kind of person. There's a woman, her name is Kim Elise Taylor, and she did this mega academic paper at University of Montana. And if you really want to get into like the academic side of quilt making and Native American culture regarding quilt making, you should read her paper, which full disclosure, I have not read the whole paper because it's 110 pages on this topic, which makes my heart very happy, actually.
Me too.
And so she interviewed women. It's primarily women who are making the quilts, and she interviewed them and learned all about these different things. Ironically, one of the women that she talked with is Swedish, but she is married to someone who is part of the Assiniboine tribe, and so she has she has like become part of the tradition in that way, which was interesting in itself.
That is interesting.
Anyway,
do you know when the missionaries would have brought that over?
It was later than you
I was
expect.
just wondering if the buffalo thing was because the herds had been overhunted and were gone.
Yes. That's the biggest connection. I think it's probably not 100% that, and I've just sort of, despite finding 110 pages on this, I've skimmed the surface, so I don't want to get into
that's fine.
anything that requires but
never mind.
no, it's fine. I don't want to like misquote the thing, but I
have learned about this also in a Native American studies class in college.
Okay, let me see here, because it's obviously different tribes have embraced this. It's not just like this paper is about the Assiniboines, but the Sioux of South Dakota, it says, initially adopted the patchwork star pattern for their quilts at the turn of the century, and by the 1920s, the Sioux on Fort Peck Reservation were making star quilts as well. So Fort Peck Reservation is where this is focused on this particular study. But yeah, so, and it ended up, those were the
that is more recent than I would have thought.
Yeah. These are the two groups that initially learned and were embracing this quilt pattern, but it basically has been spread to many other groups, and they've kind of embraced it as a symbol within Native American culture now. I think it's so cool.
I think that's lovely.
They're really beautiful. They're really beautiful.
And those quilts are hard to make well.
Yeah. Oh, but I did read like one woman who she can make one of these now in 6 hours. I don't know what all that includes. That's like, I don't know. Is that from start to finish, or is that like piecing the quilt top. I don't know. I heard that and I was like, what? So yeah.
I mean, she must be supplying to the tourist trade, I would guess. But I was just thinking about matching all those points.
I know. But I saw it, when I was looking through these things, I saw variations on it that I've never seen before. That
Cool.
Again, gorgeous. So highly recommended to do at least a bit of skimming of the photos that are in some of these resources. So yeah. But also,
that's awesome.
Do look at the person's note cards, because they're the cards that quilters should be using for all of their correspondence.
All right, now I have to look. Oh, wow.
Yeah, like die cut.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. So
I want some.
yeah,
I guess I can probably acquire some
you can
from this
They're
woman.
on her website. Yeah.
Cool. I am very excited to support this particular thing. Oh, yes, my grandma will be so excited that
I love it.
have written her something. And maybe she'll be excited enough to stop trolling me about my name. My grandmother, who I love dearly, when she wants to poke at me, will address things to Mrs. Jeremy Cox.
Oh dear.
And I mean, this is a woman who was the valedictorian of her graduating class, but had to take salutatorian because they gave valedictorian to the boy. So, she's not, and she's still mad. So, and she's 84. So she's gonna stay mad, I think, about that. So she really is just poking at me. And maybe if I wrote her more often, she would be less pokey.
I think you should definitely sign the card as Mrs. Jeremy Cox, just to really
with a
back.
flourish.
Yes.
Anyway. That took a turn I wasn't expecting. Boy. But those, I'm so glad that you brought those note cards to my attention, because I am definitely going to order some.
Yeah, that is my plan as well.
All right, so again, on the subject of quilts that kind of blow our minds, the American Folk Art Museum, which is here in New York City, posted a photo of a quilt called the Freedom Quilt, which I was lucky enough to see in person at, I think, a 2014 quilt exhibit. But this quilt is so interesting and so bold and so modern, but also so meaningful that, you can't help but want to know more immediately. So I think that the best thing I can do to do this particular quilt justice, and it will be linked in the show notes, and I will also link the Instagram photo that reminded me of it from earlier this summer, from the American Folk Art Museum. But I think that reading the intended label is the best way to really give you an idea of what this quilt is.
I agree.
Where it comes from.
Yes.
So first, I'm just going to describe it a little bit before I read it. But this is a quilt with a bold red background, and it has white binding. And most of the background of each square is red, but the corners of each square have, it has white corners. And the quilt says in bold, and I can't tell if they're black or navy, because it seems to have been a quilt that was used. But it says in uppercase, bold letters, directly across the entire quilt, row by row, freedom, 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 freedom. And it is so eye-catching and so moving to look at that, like, it stopped me in my tracks when I saw it in person. I needed to know more. And I had assumptions about where I thought it probably came from, which was largely correct. But wow, it's such a beautiful example of how something so simple can make such a bold statement and be so meaningful. So I'm going to read the actual description from the museum curators, because I think that does it the most justice. When Jessie Telfair invoked the power of a single word repeated over and over in this quilt, she knew the word would reverberate through the history of the United States, back to the peculiar institution, in quotes, of slavery, and the freedom that she was still struggling to attain in the 1960s at the beginning of the civil rights movement. The making of the quilt was incited by an incident she suffered in those years when registering to vote was enough to cost this African-American woman her job in a school kitchen. The bitterness of that experience still burned years later, and fellow quilt makers urged her to express the pain through her art. Worked in the colors of the American flag, the quilt cries freedom. In a subtle metaphor, Telfair has set each repeated letter in its own block. All are visually related, but no two are alike. And the title of this quilt is Freedom Quilt. Mm-hmm. And it seems to have been made in 1983 in Parrott, Georgia. And this week was the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. And that is this week when we're recording, not this week when you hear this. Yeah. And, I mean, you guys probably know that I wrote a book called Feminist Stitches. And the first pattern in that book is a Votes for Women banner. Yeah. And it was really important to me then, when I wrote the book, to note that this was the anniversary that most white women got the vote. And that it wasn't until the Civil Rights Act of 1965 that some women became enfranchised.
Well, and I just even learned that in between that, there were other groups of women that for the first time got the right to vote. For example, Chinese American women got the right before Black Americans did. So
I believe Native American women also.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't, there may even be several other groups within that, but yeah, it's the fact that it was 1965 though is yeah.
I mean, that's almost within my living memory. Like, I was born 18 years after that. Yeah. It's within our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents' very real living memories. Yes. And that's really upsetting to think about. And so when revisiting this quilt, I just happened to stumble across the image that I had saved when I was looking for inspiration for topics, and then reading about how the civil rights movement tied into the making of this quilt that I found so striking and so beautiful. It just seemed like really, really solid timing to be mindful that there are still barriers today.
Yeah.
And that I feel like this quilt could do a lot of things. It can be a symbol of fact. It can be a symbol of hope. It can be a symbol of aspiration. But it can also be a symbol of judgment and a symbol of shame on you. And it seems to me as it was made channeling the energy of a woman who lost her job because she registered to vote, that it probably encompasses most, if not all, of those things.
Yeah.
I obviously don't know her and therefore cannot ask, and she has passed away. But, it might be interesting to note that Jessie B. Telfair was born in 1913 and died in 1986.
Yeah.
So she made this quilt.
Yeah. That she made this in her very last few years is like, I'm so thankful that she listened to those people around her that said, do this, and she made it happen.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. I have to show
my sister. And I wanted to
sister,
talk about this for so long.
Yeah. I have to show my sister, my youngest sister, she sews and does craft things and all those kinds of things. And she was, when we were discussing the 100th anniversary of the right to vote, she was the person who like jumped into the conversation and was like, oh yeah, she was all aware of the anniversary, and we hadn't talked about it prior to that. It was on her radar, and it made me very like, good. She's not old enough to vote yet, but I was like, good, she's into this already. And I was like, because when you have younger siblings, you're always like, as the person who's hoping that the next generation, essentially, because we're very far apart age-wise, you're hoping that they're going to engage in things as well. And it was like that first sign of her engaging in it. And I look forward to showing her this. She'll like it.
Oh, yes. I imagine that she will. On the subject of the kids are probably, hopefully, going to be all right and engaged and actually aware of history in a way that, well, we and previous generations seem to not be. I think that anyone interested in that should also check out the Social Justice Sewing Academy, which is this amazing group that fosters creativity largely through quilt blocks, but also embroidery, I think sometimes paper.
Yeah.
They do a whole lot, but it's all like social justice and being aware of history and fighting for justice for people who don't necessarily get it. And so they are definitely someone to check out. And on Instagram, it is SJS Academy. And I really, really learn a lot from from just reading what the kids have to say and what they're making.
Yeah.
It's it's really moving because it's kids taking from their everyday lives, and sometimes as an adult, it's really easy to not see that, and especially as an adult who does not have younger siblings like you. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you for highlighting the Freedom Quilt and more. It's all good to take in. Not always easy to take in, but good to take in. So.
No, it's not easy, and it's complicated, and it's hard to do justice.
Yep.
And I'm a white woman, and it's something that as a white woman, I feel like especially other white women need to come into contact with.
Yeah. And bringing awareness in this way is like one of the least things that we can do. And
yes,
that needs to be done. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Shall we transition to flowers?
Oh, why not?
For our first bit of flower craft related fun.
Floral frippery?
Yeah, sure, that. So back like when we recorded, I think the very first episode of this podcast, I talked about a craft themed magic trick because my dad is a magician. It's just how it is.
Right.
And it's still weird to say, but yeah. So we used to
it's
pretty
fine.
much every
Your dad
summer
can be a magician.
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to go full on weird here, but every summer we would go to a magic convention as a family. It was like a whole camp kind of a thing. Sometimes at a literal camp. Other years later on, it was at like a college campus or a hotel kind of a situation. Well, one year...
That sounds really fun.
It was a whole thing. They would do like classes during the day, and of course you had like a dealer room, and then you had evening shows.
Dealer room.
I know, that sounds terrible, but it was, where your magic dealers were dealing. And I would occasionally help
understand
those who, friends of our family that had booths there. And and then it would every night would have an evening show where people would perform their routines and all of this thing. Honestly, I have such fond memories of going to this convention as like a young teen. I really did love it. Well, one year there was a class that was being offered, and normally classes were just included in your whole membership, but this one you had to pay to take, and I actually paid to take this class. Again, I was probably maybe middle school. Maybe, 10 or 11 even. And I paid to take this.
I'm picturing middle school Mollie, and she's adorable.
Thank you. And I paid to take this class that was being presented by someone who had gone to a magic manufacturer that makes the magic appearing flowers. So when like the magician
I have one.
Yes. Okay,
I have one right behind me.
Those flowers, when they are pulled from someone's sleeve or other,
Yeah. Ooh, mine you can light on fire.
Ooh. Very very dangerous. It's
the only magic trick I know. Okay. It's making a flower, a rose disappear on fire.
Oh, very nice.
Anyway,
most of the time those
carry on.
The appearing flowers are made of feathers. And this particular company, it was like proprietary information on how they made their flowers. And this person they had been able to tour and they got permission to share information on how to make them, and they taught this class. And so we're in a room, they dumped out bags full of feathers, which you sorted through to find the right ones, and then they demonstrated how to make these flowers. And they're, these are handcrafted feather flowers, and I can't really find, if you've seen like if you know any, like, have any frame of reference for magicians, you could picture these flowers, I'm sure. I was,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're either feathers or silk.
right.
Or
But
fake silk.
feathers, the reason that feathers work really well is because they compress down and they,
Yes.
they can be hidden and all of that. But they can have a more realistic appearance to them when you do them with feathers. And I will say, like, I one time told this other magician that our family knows, I mentioned in passing that I had learned this special technique from Abbott's Magic on how to make their feather flowers. He hounded me for years trying to get that information from me, and I was not actually trying to withhold it from him. I just didn't have, like, all of my notes. I never could find them again. But yeah, he was just like, he was ruthless trying to get secret information from, like, a teenager. But anyway, I didn't find, obviously, any specifics on how these flowers are made by this company, which doesn't even make them anymore. But I found a really cool video on YouTube that I think it was like a little mini documentary, probably made in the 60s. It's British, and they show how to make feather flowers, and because people would use them in their decor. And so in this video, you can see some of the process. Again, not exactly the same as what I learned, but very close. It just is, the basic flower assembly is the same thing. And so I will link to it in the show notes, because it's one of those, like, it's very, I found a couple videos. This one is colorized or shot in color, but, like, is that distinct 1960s color. It's very tranquil to watch and listen to. So
I love everything about how you described it.
Highly recommended. So yeah, I mean, and they're talking about, like, some of the flowers that they make in this could take like an hour to make a single bloom. It is definitely a craft, a very serious craft in itself. So I just thought I
had no idea it was such an art.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we get into, like, shaping and sculpting, and there's wiring and there's all the things, but yeah, watch the video.
Cool.
At your leisure.
Oh, I am on it. Not on the video.
Yeah.
That would be awkward. And I'm not a time traveler. Probably.
Probably.
You never know.
You don't want to rule anything out.
I mean, maybe I just don't know yet.
It's true.
In this particular
That's how time
timeline.
traveling works. You don't know yet.
No, it depends on which direction in time I'm going.
Exactly.
And if I have a TARDIS. Okay. Now I'm going to dig myself out of the geek hole here. And
I was just going on about loving magic conventions, so continue as needed.
But they sound so much fun. They sound really similar to crafting conventions, frankly.
Yes, exactly. I happened to just find the crafting, actually, there were probably a lot of craft type lectures that you could go to learn how to make magic tricks and so on, because it's how they roll. Anyway.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. So flowers? More flowers?
Flowers. Okay. So in another round of coincidences, which seem to have been sprinkled about all of our topics, just things that seem to have coincided and popped up, and it's a very serendipitous episode. Yes.
Good word.
Thank you. So I had been shopping for pressed flowers on Etsy because I wanted some for witch reasons.
Sure.
And
I say that like I know, like, oh, of course. Like, I don't know. I'm just following along. Go ahead.
I just wanted them to look pretty on my altar in a container.
There you go.
That is the reason.
There you go.
Yes. So I was ordering all of these different pressed flowers, and I was really skeptical about whether or not they had been dyed because they were so bright.
Oh.
And so when I finally got them, I mean, it's pretty clear when a flower's been dyed. So when I finally got them, none of them had been. Like, they were all just beautifully, beautifully, perfectly preserved.
Wow.
Yeah, and so then I was like, well, I've done this poorly before. Like, so poorly. So I went down a rabbit hole on flower pressing. And at the, that very day, actually, I also had forgotten that I was attending a lecture, a video lecture from the Merchants House Museum, which is an amazing local, completely intact Victorian home in New York, if you ever happen to be around.
I think
if
I've
we
heard
ever
about
travel
that.
again.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I will take you the next time
Okay.
you're in the area.
Okay.
So, but the lecture was on the Victorian art of flower and seaweed pressing. And so I had just gone down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to this whole, like, history of bored Victorian women who were taking the water cure in upstate New York.
Uh-huh.
Doing all of this, like, seaweed and flower pressing. And apparently it was really popular. And, like, everybody had albums, which were called herbariums.
Okay.
Or herbariums. I'm unclear if we're pronouncing the H in this one.
Uh-huh.
And basically, it was a nearly ubiquitous pastime of women in the summer, especially as travel memories.
Okay.
Like,
I like
collecting
that.
specimens while traveling
Yeah.
was a big part of it. So I thought that was very interesting, and the Merchants House Museum has the family herbariums.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, both seaweed and flower.
Ugh.
And some of them are so well preserved. Some of them are less so because acid in paper and also being exposed to light, things like that. And they also showed a page of Emily Dickinson's herbarium, which was beautifully preserved.
Yeah.
Like, somebody got that into a climate controlled room immediately.
Uh-huh.
Since this whole collection that I was looking at from the family, all it just lives in the house. It's a very old house.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly temperature controlled, and it's filled with antiques. And also, it was in the new Ghostbusters movie with the ladies.
Ah.
It's
I still haven't seen that.
It's the first place where they are and have to go into the basement.
Okay.
So, just in case anyone has seen that, you may already know what I'm talking about. So, while looking at these and seeing how well preserved they were, and I happen to have an example of a friend's wedding flowers that are not as well preserved as I would have liked them to have been, I wanted to figure out why. Like, what the difference was. I mean, I put them in tissue paper and put them in a gigantic German dictionary. Like, I feel like that should have done it.
Yeah.
But, I guess the issue is the flowers need to dry as quickly as possible or they brown. Like, that is the deal. And so there are a bunch of different ways to do it.
To, like, speed up the drying.
Bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, between bricks in a book, whatever. But what you need to do is start with a really absorbent paper, but not paper towel, because that will leave marks.
Okay.
Unless you want paper towel embossed flowers.
I mean, that could be a thing.
Yeah, so to start out, you can either do that, or you can literally press flowers with an iron.
I feel like I've heard that, but
Well, I used to do it with wax paper, and make, when I was a little kid, to make like fake stained glass to hang up.
Sure.
But this is not that. It's basically exactly what I do to dry my cross-stitch projects for books, so they're quickly enough so the reds don't run.
There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah, and so I found all of these different ways. Apparently you can use a microwave.
What?
And there's a specific thing as a professional microwave flower press.
And yet you can't find something to just warm your beeswax sheets.
Right? I mean, maybe that's what I need to warm my beeswax sheets. But yeah, so I will link to all of this information on the many different ways to do that, which I found in Better Homes and Gardens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a flower press. I have, like, the kind of the traditional, it's got the, the wood pieces at the top and the bottom, and, the layers of, I think mine has cardboard, and then, the screws at the corner. I haven't really used it a lot,
and
but
and they're easy to make. I'm also including a link of how to make those. But honestly, if you're doing something big, I think I might give it a little help with an iron first. I feel like I might combine the two.
Yeah.
Because I was also really surprised that the obviously dried flowers that I got weren't brittle.
Oh, that's
interesting. They were pliable.
Huh, that's very cool. Well, I guess...
I mean, they were not, like, super... like, I couldn't fold them or anything. Yeah. But, like, I could put them in a bottle opening that was a bit smaller than they were.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so... Then, of course, I had to go down the rabbit hole of making flower presses, which is actually an easy thing to do. And they all basically look like exactly what you just said, Mollie. Yeah. Except, of course, I found the one. I'm going to go ahead and guess from the name... and also from how it looks that it is a Japanese flower press.
Okay.
But it looks like an accordion portfolio with ratchet belts.
Oh.
And I am so into it.
Is that the one you linked to on Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very, it's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like the one I would have. But also, a microwave press seems like a thing I should know about. I feel like there are so many new things that I could do right now to make my grimoire very happy. I can make my own personal herbarium.
Yes. I think you should. And then I won't go into this in the interest of time, but at some point I should, if again, flowers and plants have become a regular occurrence on the podcast, but sometime I'll have to tell you about my experiments in flower hammering. Have you ever done this?
What?
Yeah.
Is it a printing technique?
Yes. Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk about it another time. It's really cool.
Okay.
It's really cool. All right.
I'll
find
excited,
examples that I think.
and I hope
Okay.
it's what I'm picturing.
It's cool.
Do I need a
It's really cool.
sledgehammer?
I don't think I've used a sledgehammer, but you could. I mean, they're flowers. We want to be a little delicate, but you'll like it. Although a whole different effect could be achieved. We'll talk about it another time. I can put it on the schedule for next time even. It'll be good.
Okay, great.
All right.
Great, I'm in. All right.
Yes. So on that note, I think we should wrap this up for today and say thank you to all of you for listening to the Very Serious Crafts podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Serious Crafts and on Facebook at Very Serious Crafts. You can also find show notes and all things Very Serious Crafts at veryseriouscrafts.com. And finally, if you are a fan of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. Good ratings help us show up in recommendations, which helps more people who love crafting find us. And
Yes, please.
that would just be nice. So, until next time, when we talk about more than just quilts and flowers.
Maybe.
That's all. Maybe, exactly. We can't guarantee that. All right. Thanks, friends. Bye.
Okay. Yes, bye.